Let it just sink in for a little bit. Oh, well. Now that we cut off that music, welcome everybody to Gears of War RosterMania with your very own NJ Cubano. Glad to have you guys here tonight. I hope everybody enjoys this episode. We have a very special episode. I know they say that often, but no, tonight is nothing but the best. And I only try to bring you guys the best, just to bring the entertainment and the excitement to the, to the stream and to the show, as well as to the esports Gears community. I always tell you guys, that we need more energy in this community. We need a little bit more excitement, some better topics to talk about, newer faces, newer people. I'm bringing you all that tonight. I actually have everything written out. We're trying to make this as official as possible, as try to make it like more of a news reporter slash ESPN type show. You guys know the usual. I'm just gonna keep repeating myself as usual. But to get started tonight, guys, our agenda, we have 4 new sponsors that have signed on with Gears of War RosterMania that I'm excited to tell you guys about tonight. And we are gonna touch on it, but we're gonna go through the agenda before I start saying who is exactly signing on to be a partner of the Gears of War RosterMania show with your very own NJ Cubano. We also have an announcement, and this comes dear to me, of Platinum Star Games. It's a new store, gaming store actually, in Howell, New Jersey. One of my friends actually is opening it on Saturday, 9/16/2017 on Saturday, 11 o'clock a.m. They are going to be open until 9 p.m. They're going to be having a new gaming store in New Jersey. Very rare to find. We'll also be touching that as well later in the show. I think you guys would love the store. It's all about gaming. It's card games, board games. Everything's going to be there. You guys name it, it's there. I'm actually going to be there. I'm going to be there this Saturday, 9/16. So be on the lookout for any pictures and posts of myself, Mr. RosterMania, as well as wearing my Raw Talent jersey out there. So stay tuned for more information on that. We also are going to be speaking about the new Pro Circuit ladder for esports Gears that has just started for season 2. It's actually up on GameBattles.com. We're going to be touching on that as well because that's very important in regards to seeding for the first event in Mexico City. So that's going to be awesome to talk about tonight. And as well, that is for the Gears of War 4 $1 million league tournament. So yeah, that could get a little shaky in regards to, teammates and pro points and all the snaking that might occur. We're going to be talking about that as well. Later on in the show, which he's going to be our first guest tonight, we're going to be speaking to one of my former teammates, Rezac, known to me as Kevin. Kevin comes to us tonight on the show to discuss his journey as a young and upcoming professional player in this community. Kevin actually has been playing for a while, but he's been on the background. Kevin is very young. He actually went to his first major league tournament with myself and Immortal Spawn. So he comes very dear to me as well. Kind of raised him into a player that he is today. So happy to have him on here tonight. We also have newfound talent to the esports gear scene, Tyler's Human. He's actually 3rd on the list tonight, as well as you guys could look on the topic board. Make sure you guys follow him. He will be coming to the show to discuss his new venture in the esports world. Now, Tyler has been around for a long time. I've known Tyler for a bit. Immortal Spawn, my teammate Rob, business partner as well, have known Tyler. He comes to us from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So he's been around. He has a lot to talk about, as well as his new venture coming into the esports Gears world. Lastly, I round out tonight's episode with my good friend and esports mentor himself, Stephen A. Crystal Esquire. I will be discussing why and how he got into the esports Gears of War scene, which is something that he's interested in, and his experience over the last 3 years of working in the industry. Now, Steven has an outrageous background. This guy is an investor. He's a previous owner of a casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. I mean, hello? He does it all. He's a consultant. He's an attorney. I mean, what kind of guy is this? The knowledge that he brings to the table and the experience he brings to the show. I want to give a big shout out to Stephen A. Crystal tonight for being on the show and for giving us the opportunity to do some Q&A with somebody like that. So, going forward, I appreciate the continued support and the love that I have been receiving since starting the Gears of War RosterMania show. And I also wanted to be known that I am actively looking into partnering with a company and organization to power my show. I do have 4 new sponsors that I said I am going to be talking about tonight, and they have joined me, and you guys can also see them on the bottom of the page. That's kind of a hint, so you guys can know them ahead of time. But they have come on, and they have been nothing but supportive of my show and of myself. So we're going to go ahead and start with that. So like I told you guys before, and I kept to my promise, we have 4 new sponsors. Now, I have to start with the first one. The first sponsor that I'm going to be talking about is, drum roll, Trickstrat. Now, Trickstrat is owned and operated by Immortal Spawn himself. Rob came to me and told me, hey, let's be business partners once again. So I said yes. Obviously, I love the guy to death. So Trickstrat is now an official sponsor of Gears of War RosterMania. If you guys haven't by now, go ahead and download that application right now, iOS or Android, or even on your computer. You could own and operate it any way possible. You just have to go out there and search for it. Trickstrat is probably the #1 application when it comes to coaching, when it comes to drawing out map applications. If you want to improve your game, if you want to improve your team's game, go ahead and download that app. Rob, that one's for you. Trickstrat, guys, go ahead and follow them at Trickstrat. I also have a command for all of our sponsors, so I'm going to announce all of them, and then I'm going to throw it on there on the chat for you guys, just so you could go ahead and throw them a follow, download their apps, contact them directly, whatever it is. So I want to thank Immortal Spawn, Rob Ambrose, Trickstrat. Thank you guys for being part of the Gears of War RosterMania family. We are only going to grow from here, guys. I promise you. I am too stubborn to fail. I've been told by that by numerous people, and I tend to agree with that. So, second sponsor of the night, we're going to go to X-Height Gaming. They are a new organization owned and operated by Tyler and Harrison. Harrison comes to me very dearly. He actually was a org co-owner of the Las Vegas squad Ferocity Nation that I played under at Las Vegas, which happens to be, if I don't play again, my last tournament. Now, X-Height Gaming comes to us as a new and upcoming organization. They actually picked up a top, I think, 4 Latin American squad going into Mexico City. I actually just sat in an interview with them, with the actual squad, and went over, details, salary information, traveling ideas, and so forth, just because I try to do as much as possible to help organizations and, friends of mine like Harrison. So I want to thank X-Height Gaming for signing on with Gears of War RosterMania as my second sponsor of the night. Thank you guys. Make sure you follow them as well. Third sponsor of the night, we're going to go to CMG_Gamecast. Now, you guys all know CMG. Obviously, Jason Zahner, co-owner of CMG and of Fire and Ice, their pro squad that they have, led by Demo Bounce himself. They've actually signed on to be our third sponsor of the night as well. They're down low as proudly sponsors CMG. I thank Jason for coming to me and, looking at the overall outlook that I have on my show and also on the Gears of War community. Jason has been nothing but great support and help to me, and I want to thank CMG, the whole company, the staff, Jason's wife, who's been nothing but supportive. I mean, these guys are outrageous when it comes to the love, and I want to thank them for looking into me as an inspiration into the esports Gears of War world, and I want to thank them as well. So Jason, that one's for you. CMG, love you guys. We look forward to another West Coast LAN to fill up once again 16 teams that completely filled up as well. So we want to thank them for that. And lastly, our fourth sponsor of the night, and one of the biggest sponsors that have signed on with us. And actually, I didn't do it on purpose, but it just happened to be that way. The colors say it all. Bot Empire. Now, Bot Empire came to Gears of War in Columbus, Ohio, the first event of season 1. They placed top 4. They're a powerhouse organization. They do it all. They're on Rainbow Six. They're on PUBG, led by Jake Heiser. Is a good friend of mine, somebody who I also consider a mentor when it comes to the business side of gaming and organization aspect. So Bot Empire is here. They're in full force. They support me 100%. I love the guys to death. I've never seen an organization advertise and promote as much as they do in regards to their players, their product, their marketing. I love to have them here. Again, make sure you guys follow Bot Empire as well. Without these 4 sponsors and without these guys believing in me, and I believe in them, and I will be talking about them each and every episode. But that's it for the 4 sponsors, guys. Again, Trickstrat, Bot Empire, CMG, and X-Height Gaming. that's the 4 lineup for tonight. Again, appreciate all of them. I'm going to go ahead and put the command in the chat for you guys, just so we could kind of, just so it makes it easier for everybody to follow those guys, because obviously we want to show those guys support, and they're in here tonight, and I appreciate all of them being here. Of course, it's entertaining to see them in here, as well as Jake and Bot Empire, the Twitch in here. They're always very, very supportive and very active in the stream. Immortal Spawn is here as well, so I want to thank them. But let me go ahead and put that on there for you guys. We have a boom, there it is. Proudly sponsored by Trickshot, Excite Gaming, CMG Cast, and Bot Empire. So again, thank those guys for being here. We're gonna be moving on here real quick. So the next topic that I had was Platinum Star Games. Now, Platinum Star Games, like I said, guys, is going to be a gaming store that's opening up here in Howell, New Jersey. They're going to be going live Saturday, 9/16/2017, from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Huge store. I wish I could post more pictures. I am going to be posting pictures up on Twitter. As well as this Saturday, I'm actually going to be at the opening to support my good friend Dean Texter. He's also working with his wife, Katie Texter. So I want to give them a shout out as well. They've always been super supportive of myself, of my team Raw Talent. And also, before I continue, Francis, Hipster Nerd Guys, he's in the chat. Francis is a huge help. He's a huge support. He's actually one of the gaming specialists over at the Bridgewater, New Jersey Microsoft store. Francis, thank you for coming here tonight, as well as everybody else. Glenn, Leap, Deluxe, Disrupting You, Trooper, everybody here. But yeah, just to get back to topic, we are going to be going live with Raw Talent and Mr. RosterMania Saturday at the Platinum Star Games in Howell, New Jersey. Of course, if you guys ever have any questions or concerns in regard to, maybe showing up to an event or, talking to me personally, you guys could always feel free to DM me or contact me through email, whatever it is, I'm here to help you guys. So next, and it's the first topic on the board, is the Pro Circuit Ladder and 2Ks. So the Pro Circuit Ladder has started up. We are having teams grind it out for pro points. Now, the tricky part about it is that the Pro Circuit Ladder is playing a bigger role, I think, than ever. Now, the more points you get from the Pro Circuit Ladder in regards to Gears of War, for anybody that doesn't know, the more points you have, the higher you'll be seated on the 2K that starts this Sunday. So you have teams, pro teams, amateur teams, semi-pro teams, grinding out this whole week, trying to accumulate as many points as they can to get the higher seed. Because obviously, I think there's only 2 or 3 2Ks that count towards Mexico City, which is in the middle of October. I think it's actually October 14th to the 16th. So you see a lot of teams very active on GameBattles.com right now in regards to the Pro Circuit Ladder, as well as we should expect that. If you're playing for the amount of money that you are, which is $150,000, guys, for Mexico City, you expect teams to be grinding it out and doing the best that they can in regards to that. Now, there's also a fault to that. Now, of course, when it comes to Gears of War, when it comes to placing high and having a higher seed and doing well, you have teams making changes here and there, as well as I'm sure we'll see a lot more when it comes to Saturday or Sunday of this weekend, only due to the fact that teams are going to be trying to get a higher seed. So that makes it a little bit interesting. But obviously, that's something you have to expect when you're playing for $1 million. This year is another $1 million league for esports Gears of War. For most of you that don't know, they had a $1 million league in season 1, and they followed season 2 up with another $1 million. So Mexico City is the first event. It's for $150,000. It has been confirmed by Jack Felling herself that is at a top 12 payout. Now, like I said, seeding is going to become very important going into this event. Because why not? I mean, the higher you get, the better it is. The worse teams that you begin to play in the tournament. So that's something that we're going to be looking on. 2K starts on Sunday. So next week, I'm actually going to be speaking about the 2K and following up with as much stats as I can for you guys, like I promised with my kind of like post-game show or post-event show. So we're going to be doing that next week with the 2K. We're going to be looking at the new rosters that were formed for that event and who placed ranking-wise in regards to that. But that's something interesting, and that's something I've been working on, so I look forward to doing that for you guys. But So I don't continue to bore you guys and you guys look at me the whole time, I'm going to contact Rezac, aka Kevin. Like I said, he is a former teammate of mine. I played with him at Columbus, Ohio, alongside Immortal Spawn, God Plays, and Domes TV. We actually placed top 12. Unfortunate event. We played, I think, at 12 a.m., finished up around 2 a.m. for top 8. Really brutal. I know we were out of it. Kevin from there continued to skyrocket. He actually placed pro multiple events, and I'm really happy for him. I'm happy to have him on here. He has a lot of insight when it comes to the game, and yeah, hopefully I could get him on here for you guys. I'm going to actually be calling him now as I talk to you guys. See if Kevin's here. Should be ready. I try to have my guests on the show ready prior. Let's see. So while I wait for him, again, I thank you guys for being here. Dinosaur, we won't touch on that too much. You know, we're all about positivity and about my sponsors and friends and what big topics we have about and talking about the guest on here on the show. So we're gonna stay away from that tonight. Glenn, real excited to see how the first 2K seeding works out. I'm excited, Glenn. I think that's gonna play a huge role, like I said, in the first 2K and going into the first event. Bot Empire. Being active in here as always. Love you guys. The real Joe Ball. Joe Ball. Big shout out to Joe Ball. Good friend of Immortal Spawn. He's actually the team mom of Raw Talent. So again, he comes dear to me as well. I've known Joe for years and years now. So I love him. Trying to get Rezac on here. I'm hoping he's available. Let me check if I can DM in here for you guys real quick. Sorry about that. Not too sure what the holdup is, but if he takes too long, I will move on to the next guest and hopefully get him on here eventually. But yeah, so if you guys have any questions throughout the whole night, feel free to message me as much as possible here on the chat or even through Twitter, just to kind of keep questions flowing and so forth. So, Cubano, man, you should host your own tourney. 5v5 execution and get funded by the coalition. It would be really cool and something different. Hey, I would love to, Dinosaur. Honestly, I'm all about it. I'm going to try to, look into that, obviously. I really would love to do something like that. Kind of do like a tournament hosted and sponsored by Gow RosterMania where, the money goes to the players. I'm obviously not here to make, money off of gaming tournaments online or anything like that. As it is, the players don't make enough. From what I see. So yeah, that's something I would definitely do. Now, next question. Let's talk about the picture of you and Bay in the gold frame. So, Bot Empire, that's a great question. Yes, the middle picture behind me is actually of me and my fiance Gabby. That was high school prom senior year. But yeah. Oh, actually, hold on. Kevin's calling me right now, so I'm gonna pick that up. What up, buddy?
Yo, there it goes.
What's happening?
Nothing much, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. How's life? How's gaming?
Good, man. A little stressful sometimes, but we're in there.
we all know how it gets. Are you gonna be having some? Are you gonna be using a video at all, or?
Probably not.
Oh, boo. Let's get this guy off the show already. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So, Kev, I want to thank you for coming on here. I know, most people in here probably already know you. Most of the Gears community usually shows up. But for everybody else that doesn't, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, my name's Kevin. Gamer tag is Rezac. I've been playing since pretty much the first Gears of War, but I didn't start traveling till Gears 4. And actually my first event was with you, Gubano, and yeah, man, just that's pretty much it. Just trying to win the championship.
Of course. I mean, if that's not the goal by now, then you're doing something wrong. So I know you're always pretty level-headed and you're pretty smart. Since I played with you, you're very experienced and very mature for your age. I know I have said that since I played with you. Now, Kev, tell me about the beginning of your Gears career. How do you feel you started off, or where did you start off?
Like I said, I started off in Gears 4. I started traveling, and I actually fell in love with it, man. It was a test for me, to be honest. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I have an opportunity to do it. Why not? You know, I've always put a lot of time into this game. So once I did it, man, I traveled. Like I said, I fell in love with it, and from there it just skyrocketed. I placed pro Mexico City, and that was a very like special event for me. And from there, I placed fifth at AC, and I just wanted more ever since, man. So here I am trying to get more.
Of course, I know you've been at it ever since, and I know you've been grinding with your team and doing with the best that you can with what you have. Now,
Right.
Kevin, with season one, what was your favorite event overall?
Ah man, I would have to say Mexico, bro. Even though I placed fifth and I placed better at AC, just the fans at Mexico, the passion that they have for the game, just they show a lot of love and support. So and plus, when we beat Splice for top eight, all the fans were going crazy, yelling at us. But it was fun though. It was really fun. I had a good time at that event. So I'd have to say Mexico.
Of course, and that's usually a very popular option in regards to when it comes to the events. Everyone always says Mexico, which is hilarious. And I get it. I get it. I heard the crowd was, electrifying. They were very into the game. They were very, entertaining in regards to being on video. I know you've seen probably that kiss cam that everyone talks about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that was wild and that we don't expect.
Oh man.
Now, did you see that? Like the guy totally was blown off by his girlfriend on camera.
Oh yeah. I seen it. I was dying, yo.
That was probably by far one of the most embarrassing situations that anybody could ever be in. But I thought that was funny. I thought that was different. So yeah, of course, Mexico City. I'm gonna have to write that down on my list. Everyone has said that so far. Not in a bad way. That's a great way. Obviously, that's why the coalition is starting. Is starting with Mexico City once again going into season 2. Immortal Spawn has a question before we start.
What's that?
Rob said, Kevin, who is your favorite Raw Talent teammate not named Gabe?
I'd say Rob.
There we go, Rob. Yeah, why not? Of course it's got to be Rob. If it's not me, it's Rob. Or if it's not Rob, it's vice versa.
Right.
But I like that question that Rob had. That made me laugh a lot.
He said,
He said, I knew it. There's no way. All right, so Kevin, what player did you look up to when it came to Gears of War? Who is your, I guess you say, your Gears of War idol, or who you looked up to when you first started playing the game, or in general?
Ah man. Well, who I would say praise probably, just the way he plays, and he has a cool personality too, bro. So probably have to go with praised.
Yeah, praise.
And nasty, sorry, and nasty too, and nasty and Gow 3, man. That guy was a monster, bro.
Yeah, no, both good choices. Praise has been playing since Gears of War 3. Jake, same thing. Jake won multiple, championships in regards to that. Same with Praised. So those are both good options. Very mellow guys, very modest, very down to earth players in general. So not what I expected. Obviously I thought you were going to say myself or Immortal Spawn, but that's cool. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to move on. That's fine. It was kind of a trick question and you failed, but that's okay. Who would you say, now this is a good one for you, who would you say was your favorite teammate? Any team, any year, any game, doesn't matter. Who was your favorite teammate?
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one because I became really good friends with all my teammates. You get me? Like you get to grow like a relationship with them, and it's kind of hard to pick, to be honest. But if you were to go with teammates and leadership wise, I'd probably go with Excels because playing with that guy on LAN is something else, man. Like his voice has a really big impact in the gameplay, and then the way we rotate around the map. So probably have to say Excels.
Of course, yeah, and that's again, that's something that a lot of people say about him, especially when they play with him. And like you said, you did place high with him. He's a great leader in game. He knows, he knows how to rotate. He basically moves you guys around like his soldiers. So it's not the first time I hear that, and that's that's a great choice. And I'm sure Chris would appreciate that when he sees this. Now, Kevin, going into Mexico, tell me about your current squad. Who's on it? What have you guys been doing, and so forth? Kind of give us some information on that.
All right, well, going into season 2, the squad is Guish, Jerpy, Crash, Clouds, and myself. And our coach is Perpsy. And yeah, man, we've been doing a lot of scrimming lately. Well, not for the last week and a half or two, going on 2 now, because Guish lives in Florida. And as you know, what happened in Florida.
Hmm.
So we haven't been scrimming as much. He actually just started getting his internet back, so we just started playing in the PCL matches. So, and we've been watching a lot of footage too as well, because Percy does a really good job of being there on time when we scrim and just getting good angles for us to learn from. You know what I mean? When we do something wrong in the
Absolutely.
POV. So yeah, man, we're just trying to prepare ourselves for the best placing we could possibly get. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, like you said, that's a great job that Perpsy does to actually sit there and watch film and kind of
right,
go over it with you guys and break it down a little bit more. Because obviously, there's a lot more to being, a pro player and staying at that kind of level that you guys are.
right.
Obviously, I expect you guys to be at. So, what are your expectations going into season 2?
Obviously, man, to win a championship. A lot of people say like optics unbeatable, this and that. Which I agree. They've shown it. You know what I mean? But it's to a certain point where if you grind it out and really stick with one team, you can really beat them. You just really have to like go through those hard times as a team and just overcome those hard times. And I feel like in due time you'll be able to win a championship. And I feel like this team that I have, the way we've been like building our relationship and the way we've been scrimming together, trying to learn, I feel like we have the chance to do it this season.
Yeah, I mean, with that roster, like I said, that's all experienced players. So I do think that you guys will make some noise at this first tournament. Will you guys be playing in this 2K this weekend? Obviously, I'm assuming the answer is yes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're gonna hope for the best as well because Guish's internet, like I said, it's been off and on, but he claims that right now it's doing well. So hopefully it's holding up till Sunday and we'll be able to play in it. But even if he does not play in it, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a sub for it. That way we don't miss out on it.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys are going to do whatever you can to play in this tournament. Next week, I actually announced it. I don't know if you were watching or not. I am going to be breaking down the 2Ks, with rosters and placements and so forth. So I hope you place high so I could talk about you next week.
Thanks, bro.
That's something that I expect to see. I would love to play in it, but unfortunately, I am too busy at this time. So
Yeah.
what's the roster? If you could repeat it, I know Bot Empire had a question. What's the roster again? If you could say that for us.
The roster is Guish, Jerpy, Crash, Clouds, and myself, and Perpsy as the coach.
Awesome. That's just some clarification for the stream and for Bot Empire as well. So my last question for you, Kevin, before I let you go, I'm sure you guys are screaming or you have something to do, but what other Latin American country would you love to see a Gears of War event at?
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I don't know.
Don't think too hard. Come
Maybe
on.
Guadalajara. I don't know.
He said Guadalajara. Wow, I love it. That was a good one. Guadalajara. Well, yeah. I mean, hey, I respect it. I mean, you said Guadalajara.
I've never been. Look, this is the thing. I've never been to any other place in Mexico besides Mexico City, so I'm not sure.
I love it, Kevin. I'm just busting on you. We have Glenn Ink TV in here. He said Brazil. That's a good one. Hipster nerd Francis. He said Ecuador. I mean, something like that. But Guadalajara will do good enough for me. That's fine. No Gene said that his dad's from there. So I mean, if his dad's from there, nice. I'm going there.
Yeah, that's where my mom's from. So.
Oh, that's where you're. Oh, so yeah, so that'd be awesome. Be able to go back to her hometown and whatnot and play for your people. So that's something we want to see. I was gonna say Cuba, just like War Dog in here. He's actually Cuban.
Cuba would be. Oh, it actually sounds cool.
I mean, we'll probably never see it happen because whatever, they have their own issues. But that would be awesome. I mean, I obviously have to like host the event because I'm Cuban. NJ Cubano, hello. But yeah, that's all I have for you tonight, Kevin. Thank you for coming on here. Thank you for taking your time out of your day to do this. I know you guys are on a busy pro circuit ladder grind.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
I thank you for that. Hey, of course, come on now. We don't discriminate here. Everybody is welcomed on this show. And I saw you tweet out, and I was like, nah, I gotta get Kevin on here on the show. So, Kevin, before I let you go, any shout outs, anything you want to say to the community or anybody in general?
Just shout out to everybody that keeps Gears of War going. People that watch the viewership. Without them, I don't think Gears of War would be where it's at today. If you really think about it, especially since we were going through tough times and Gears 3. We were having hyperstation events, but not too much money put into it for the reason that the viewership wasn't too high. So
Yep.
I appreciate everyone that continues to watch and appreciate the support. Whether it's me, other teams, Optic, Echo, just continue to watch and help it grow, man.
Of course, and I'm sure everybody appreciates that. And that's something that we obviously work for and strive to have more productive things happen in the Gears of War community as well as esports in general. Just because of a huge growing industry as it is, and we've all seen it little by little growing. But
Right.
again, thank you, Kevin. Have a good night, and
Thanks, man.
I'll be watching you guys this weekend.
All right, thanks, Cubano.
Take care, buddy. Take later. All right, guys, so that was my first guest, Kevin at Rezac, pro player, former teammate, Columbus, Ohio, first event of Season 1. Myself and Rezac were teammates at that event. We placed top 12. Not the best placing of my life, but hey, we had a good time. It was great to meet Kevin, and it was also great to have him here on the show to kind of give you guys a little bit more of an insight of a younger pro player in the gaming world of Gears of War as well. So next, we're going to be having Tyler. Now, Tyler comes to us as new talent. New talent at Tyler's Human. That's the topic that I had up there for him tonight. Tyler, like I said, he comes to us from Philadelphia. He has worked with Immortal Spawn on a couple of different projects, so we'll ask him about that tonight to, kind of tell us a little bit about himself and what he's been doing in regards to esports. Tyler's a great guy. I actually met him, I think, for the first time, if I'm not mistaken, at the Atlantic City event. Really down-to-earth guy, really knowledgeable in regards to esports. He does a lot of videography work, a lot of editing, to videos and so forth. And I think he's a great asset to whoever decides to pick this guy up. So that's why I wanted to bring him on here on the show to kind of give you guys a better idea of Tyler and what exactly he brings to the table. So let me go ahead and call Tyler. Tyler should be ready. I know we'll have him here real quick. Who's Rosado team with? Where is it? Rosado. I'm not too sure where Rosado is, Bot Empire. I wish I knew. Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening?
Not much. Thanks a lot for having me, Gabe. Really appreciate it, man.
Of course, Tyler. Anytime. I know we're going to have a lot to talk about. I know you've been working on a lot. You've been doing a lot in regards to esports and Gears of War. Obviously, that's our main point of tonight's show. But Ty, I want you to tell a little bit about yourself. Obviously, we have some people in here that don't know Gears or don't know, yourself in general. And I love to have you on here to kind of give yourself, positive things in regards to yourself. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Tyler. Most of you guys might know me in the Gears community as Trooper. I've been in the Gears community for since the beginning, from Gears 1, the days of Gears 1 when it launched, and I started making content in the game, like video montages and stuff like that of my gameplay, and then ended up branching off with a couple of other buddies at in like 2008 and launched a YouTube channel called Gearsopedia. That a lot of people might remember. Used to have montages and gameplays from Gears 1 and Gears 2 and partially Gears 3. And I did some play-by-play commentary for some top plays of the week videos for them, and kind of just stuck with it from there. Always been invested in Gears of War and excited to cast matches and stuff for it. So especially with the way that the season's now going, like with Gears of War 4, and I'm excited to see where they go with it from here.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everything you said is pretty spot on in regards to Gears of War and the growth that it has. Now, a question I had for you, Tyler, was what drew you to the Gears of War, scene or Gears of War in general?
Well, I remember I saw some gameplay, might have been from E3 of the campaign from Gears of War 1, and I thought that was incredible just from the few seconds alone that I saw from it. It was so new to me at the time, and especially it made me think back to, I used to play a lot of third-person shooters like SOCOM, for example, and I like that style of play, third-person shooter and everything. So I hopped on that. I ended up trading a game in. right after the game dropped, like a week after Gears 1 launched, and I've just been playing it ever since. So I've definitely probably my favorite game of all time, and without a doubt.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Now, I know you've worked with my good friend slash teammate Immortal Spawn, aka Rob Ambrose, before. How was that, and what did you guys work on?
Yeah. Rob's a great guy. We've known each other for a few years already. He was actually at Winter Brawl 9 for Hype Fest Station. I was there as well, and I did kind of like a quick documentary, like recap of the event with some footage, like an after movie type thing, and threw it online. And he ended up messaging me, and said he liked the video, and then found out that I lived right in the area from him. So we actually live right in the same neighborhood in Philadelphia. So we actually did a couple of duo casts together, or dual casts. I went over to his place and we casted a couple of matches from Gears of War Ultimate Edition when they had a couple of ladder matches, some game battles, games like that. So yeah, it was really exciting getting to work with Robin. He's so knowledgeable about the game and just knows so many things, especially, he's always like 3 steps ahead, 3 rounds ahead of the before what you're about to see on the game. And you could tell that really transitioned well into his project for Trickstrat that he's working on.
Absolutely, and that's something we always talk about, and it's funny you say that. I mean, you know Rob pretty well. Yeah, he's always one step ahead of people, especially when it comes to the battlefield. So the fact that he made Trickstrat, and that was something like he's been in the works with, like I said before, with just grabbing a piece of paper and kind of drawing out the strat and kind of giving us an idea of where to go, what to do at certain times, certain rounds. So that's definitely something that he's an expert at, which is funny that you said that. Now. I personally feel that we need some fresh talent in Gears of War. I've said that multiple times on multiple occasions. So with that being said, what is your end goal when it comes to Gears of War and Season 2, or the Coalition in general?
Well, right now I'm just taking whatever opportunities come around for casting. Did a lot of different tournaments that I did recently. I actually did one for IGL. Ended up breaking, I believe, 100 viewers on stream.me. We got it on their front page, and that was a really cool tournament that I ended up getting an opportunity to do, as well as a couple other ones here and there. I kind of have it out there. If anybody wants me to commentate on their scrims or anything like that, I can do that. If you wanted to upload it to your own YouTube channels, because I know a lot of people say that we need a little more content maybe within the Gears community. So that would be cool too, if other people were down to maybe collaborate there. But as far as TC and MLG and stuff, if they're looking for new talent this season, I'm definitely down, especially with my experience in the game. Been around since the beginning, and I know a lot of people came to me specifically and said they remember my videos from back in the day, and that brought some nostalgia back for them, and that they would be invested to watch again if they heard an old school style player doing some casting maybe. So, it's definitely awesome to hear that a lot of people remember the Gearsopedia channel and all the other commentaries that I did leading up to, especially nowadays. So it's just awesome to have so many people following for that long. And, hopefully the sport carries into something big.
No, absolutely. And like you said, that's something that, you bring to the table, an old school aspect, experience, and knowledge of the game. Which I think is great, and I think that's something that we kind of lack in. I know you've been doing a lot of work. You're very motivated in regards to casting over scrims, casting over tournaments, and so forth, which I think is great experience, and also like practice for yourself, especially if you do end up working with the Coalition. I think you show the passion that most people don't, and that's something I like, and that's something I'm intrigued about you, which is why I wanted you to come on the show and kind of talk about it. And kind of put it out there that's what you're interested in. Now, since you did mention casting, I know you've been doing a lot of casting lately, where you cast over previous tournaments and scrim videos, like I said. Is there something that you're currently working on in hopes of joining the casting crew for Season 2?
Right now, I'm just trying to keep it open with anybody that's doing tournaments, especially with the season 2 just launching now, I'm going to be taking a lot of the tournament footage from the upcoming season and doing my own casting on it. It's you kind of have to mute the audio and then just do your own thing over it, which is cool. I actually wanted to try and do some people's scrims that have been uploaded to YouTube. The problem is when they upload them directly, I don't get the luxury of spectating with the spectator mode. I don't get all of the extra trimming. So it is actually a little bit more difficult to keep up with, but at the same time, it's a lot more challenging, and it brings it back to that old school feel of casting. So I'm actually kind of down for that extra challenge sometimes. And it's something that you'll probably see me upload a lot more of in the near future.
Yeah, and I know you, like you said, you've been uploading a lot. So if you guys don't already follow Tyler, make sure you do follow him. It's at Tyler's Human. He's going to be doing all that uploading and whatnot. But like you said, yeah, I'm sure it's really hard. I've watched a couple of your videos without having like the spectator mode. You're kind of, put there to be a little bit more, what can I say, like have a better imagination, just because you don't have much to work with like you would if you were at a live event. But I think you do a great job at it. I mean, you're very on your toes. You know your knowledge, which is great. You're not just up there talking about whatever it is or rambling. And I know you like to break things down a lot, which is great, especially for the viewership at home. We can't just all assume that everybody knows Gears of War. So we do have to kind of dummy proof it sometimes. And like I said, you do break that down a lot. Now, a question I have for you, this is, more of a funny laid back question. Outside of the current coalition, MLG casters, I'm not too sure who's who, but the casters / commentators, who could you see yourself co-casting with or co-hosting with, whatever you want to call it?
Outside of the current casters.
Outside of the current talent, casters.
All right. Well, I would say probably. Okay. Back when I was doing the Gearsopedia play-by-plays and top plays of the week casting, I ended up getting my buddy Landon. He actually did a whole bunch of them as well. If you guys are familiar in the Gears of War community with Landon, he streams all the time. He's been uploading consistently. I think he's about to break 100,000 subscribers. Wow. And he uploads Gears of War videos all the time. So check him out at Landon 2006 is his YouTube channel. But he would be my first. If I had a second choice, I would like to cast matches with Jim Ross from WWE WWF. I think that would be the ultimate duo right there. I think that would bring a lot to the table.
Wow, that's great, Jim Ross. That's great.
That would take people back for sure.
Wow, that's hysterical. One guy I would love to personally co-host with or co-cast with would be Joe Rogan, or no, Chael Sonnen. Oh my God, Chael Sonnen.
Those are two great choices. Yeah, Joe Rogan's actually a really good choice. I didn't think of that one.
Yeah, Joe Rogan is, he's funny, but he does have the general knowledge of, what he does. And also Chael Sonnen, because I mean, me and him are kind of similar. We're very sarcastic, can be cool and funny, but eventually he drops a bomb here and there that a lot of people don't like to hear, but people love him because of it. I mean, the guy is as sarcastic as can be. But no, that's a great choice, Jim Ross. That's funny. And also your friend Landon. I mean, 100,000 subscribers is huge. Yeah. Obviously, he's been on his YouTube game. Now, Tyler, was there any ideas, topics, questions that you may have had for the stream, for myself, or anything that you wanted to bring up?
You know what? I just nothing in general really on my mind. Nothing too pressing. Just I'm glad that so many people are still supporting Gears of War throughout the past decade that it's been around. It's come so far. There's been a lot of low points and there's been a lot of high points, and I think we have a lot of high points still ahead of us. A lot more that people are just excited to see. And I actually I was lucky enough to go to Vegas for the finale from last season, and it's just an entirely different atmosphere. It's one thing to being in Las Vegas, but it's an entirely another thing being at the actual event itself. When you're there live and you're experiencing it with everybody, you're making new friends, meeting up with old ones. It's definitely an unexplainable experience. It's something that you have to take in for yourself. And a lot of people, if they would actually if they took the opportunity to visit a lot of these events live, the scene would definitely build up, because that even if you watch it on the streams, the trash talk is unlike any other, and it's just going to get better from here.
Yeah, I know the trash talk is definitely unique in regards to Gears of War and esports. We kind of just say what's on our mind. Sometimes it's it's personal. Sometimes it's just in game. But yeah, we're very different, very unique. That's something that brings entertainment to the table. Now, Empire had something which I thought was pretty interesting, and something that I thought about prior to having you on the show. Obviously, was he said Gears of War RosterMania Hot Topics YouTube series starting. Tyler's Human and NJ Cubano, thank me later. Now that's that's something to think about. He also had said pick up Tyler as Gears of War RosterMania coverage at events. Thank me later. Now, would that be something that you'd be interested in? That doesn't have to be with me. I'm talking about in general, of doing your own, say, like live coverage at an event instead of doing like, something like this, like a show prior after the post game show or something like that. Is that something that you've seen, like kind of like a vlog kind of coverage at an event?
Yeah, because I remember I was also at Atlantic City last season as well, and I was able to meet the entire Raw Town team with Josh Kale, who was actually your filmer for that event, and he made an amazing post movie for your whole team going through that whole journey through that event, which I really really liked. And I've been doing the same thing, especially back when I around when I first met Rob for Winter Brawl 9 back in Hype Festation days. And I went to the event down there in Essington, PA, and I made like a post-event vlog or mini documentary for that as well. So it's definitely something that I really enjoy doing because I love making videos and I've been doing it for so long, and it's something that's really fun and easy to do. So especially whenever I get a chance to go to the events, I went to since I was able to go to Vegas, I took the opportunity to get as much great stuff as I could on camera, and I learned real quick that like using a DSLR to vlog is so much harder than just like whipping out your iPhone. As long as it's just so much faster to get everything that you need. So it ended up working out really well. I made like a 20-minute long vlog from my post event from Vegas, and hopefully I plan on making a lot more this season.
Yeah, of course. I know that's something that would be huge for Gears of War, especially if you're doing it at the actual event. I know you'll be great at it. I know you said you do a lot of video work, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
video editing, video production, filming, and obviously any voiceovers and stuff because I do casting and commentary and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's something that comes in handy and can be a valuable asset, to say someone like the Coalition or MOG or something like that. If that's something that interests you, obviously, I'm sure it does. Now, are you actually going to Mexico City?
It's going to be tight. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to swing it, but I'm hoping for a miracle. But if not, I'm going to be planning ahead for the event after that. Actually, I don't even think I'll be able to go because I don't have a passport. Unless I literally went down there now and got one, I don't think it would get here in time. So I just kind of realized that.
Yeah, that's always tough. Obviously, I know, like you said, yeah. But yeah, no, of course, it's only the first season. The first event, sorry. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. I'm assuming there's going to be about 5 or 6 events, maybe less, maybe more. So obviously there's more, time to actually get to an event. Now, a question that I asked Rezac, Kevin, that was just on here. I asked him what other Latin American, country would you want to see an event at? But I'm going to ask you, I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult. In general, could be anywhere.
Great. Awesome.
Where would you want to see an event? Now, it probably won't happen, but you know what? Let's make it interesting. Where would you want to see an event for Gears of War?
North Korea.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about.
No. You know where? Honestly, Spain. That would be a good place.
It's a good one.
I think if we did an event in Spain, that would be kick-ass.
Yeah, that's another good one, actually. I'm not going to lie. That's pretty good.
That would be awesome.
Spain would be great. Yeah.
Honestly, though, if you really did do say a LAN in say South Korea, obviously they have PC bangs at every corner, so it would be so easy to have an event there. There's so many places that you'd be able to hold one, and either or, those would be 2 crazy interesting places to have it. Yeah,
that's great. And I think the North Korea answer was pretty good. I think that's just as bad as Cuba, I would say, when I told him. He had told me Guadalajara, Mexico, and I said, how about Cuba? And of course, it'd probably have to be ran by a Cuban, so that means I would run the tournament. That means I would talk to Jack Felling and try to see if I could get an event over there at Cuba. I think it'd be awesome.
I think you can make it happen.
I think I can make it happen.
Pull some strings, man.
I kind of be like the dictator, and then I'd have Immortal Spawn as my right hand man. I think we'd run a great tournament in Cuba. I don't think it'd be bad. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be great.
But North America, where would you want to see an event in North America? What would you recommend, or what would you think is a great spot? Not including the ones that already have happened, obviously.
Well, then, if I had to say that, then I would say Philadelphia, so I can just walk up the street and go.
I should have said minus Philadelphia. That's...
all right. Well, minus Philadelphia. I would say Hawaii, but I feel like, I don't know, would that be a pain in the ass to get to?
No, that's a pain in the
Everybody?
ass. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not going.
That would be terrible, probably, logistically. I don't know about that one.
Hawaii.
Like, I mean, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with like Southern California. You know what I mean? Like, that's always. But the problem is, a lot of people complain that they have too many in Southern California. So, I'd say bring it back to the roots. Bring it back to the the northeastern part of America. Do New York City or Philadelphia. Like, I know New York City just had a lot of places. We just had the Microsoft store land, and one of them was on the Microsoft store like on right on Manhattan. Or right in Manhattan. So that was pretty cool. So having an event there, I think that'd be really exciting.
Yeah, no, that'd actually be a good idea. I know. In regards to California, I'd probably say San Diego. That'd be a pretty neat spot. I've heard good things about San Diego. But of course, when it comes to events like that, you know how the Gears of War community is. We have a lot of guys from the East Coast. So whenever you hear something in the West Coast, it's automatically, I don't know if I'm going to go. I don't know if this. Which is why I came to Atlantic City. Atlantic City did extremely well. Obviously, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania area. Everyone loved that event.
But Atlantic City doesn't have an In-N-Out Burger.
That is true. That is true.
Let me just go on record and say it was amazing trying it for the first time, but their fries are ass, and I don't care who says otherwise. Their fries are terrible.
Yeah,
very disappointed.
They're not that. I mean, they're not that great.
Get them animal style, but you have to eat them fast.
You have to eat them
fast. Just a cold sludge on top of dry waffles or potato sticks. I said waffles.
You said waffle sticks.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
That is too funny. New York City would be awesome. Madison Square Garden. That's what Bot Empire said. I mean, that would probably be the end goal.
There's actually ESL 1 is going to be in the Barclays Center in New York. So I mean, that would also be another great venue to have it in, because they're used to having esports events there.
Yeah, no, I think Barclays would be cool too, and I think they'll probably be opened a little bit to the idea, just because I think actually the owner of the Nets, who also started Barclays, is selling the center, which is, I know, a weird thing, but yeah, he's actually selling it. So who knows who comes in and buys it? I know they've been doing a lot of ESL or PC tournaments there. I think, right?
Yeah, ESL, for CS:GO, and I think Street Fighter's there too. If I'm not mistaken, they do that as well.
Yeah.
But, I'm hoping if say for Gears of War, if they plan to do Vegas again, which I would assume that they most likely for season 2, I'm hoping that. I know there's actually going to be in that giant pyramid in Vegas. I believe it's called the Luxor.
Sounds familiar.
Hotel. They have a nightclub in there that they're completely turning into an esports arena, and it's going to be open 7 days a week. So if they could get that finished before we're coming back to that city, we could probably have it in this brand new esports arena that's going to be right on the strip. So that would be super exciting. I would love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. I mean, that'd be pretty sick. But yeah, I think we could definitely say we're gonna see it in Las Vegas, just because of that partnership with Caesar's Palace, which would be sick. I mean, I hope. I mean, obviously we can't assume, but that would be pretty sick. I personally would love to see him come back to Atlantic City. Obviously, that's a biased opinion, but we did have a huge turnout in regards to that.
So a lot of great, residual feedback from that event too. I read a lot of articles from the local papers and stuff in that area too, and they love the event. They're planning on having more and building an esports venue there as well for specifically just gaming tournaments. So that's going to be really exciting to see them branch onto that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I wouldn't see why not. Obviously, everything's a numbers game, and if not Atlantic City, definitely Philadelphia or New York. Yep. I think that would be sick to see. Now, do you... sorry. Tell me about your Gears of War days, the beginning days. I never even asked you about that. Where did you start? Did you play game battles? Did you kind of just sit in the background, do your casual gaming, your what is this called? Campaign? I don't even remember the campaign. I can't even tell you what I did.
I'm gonna have to I feel like I gotta put my chair back. There's a therapist's office right now because I'm gonna have to confide in you. So all right. So here's what happened. It was kind of a heartbreaking beginning, but I started making montages after I got the game, and right before I started doing that, I ended up playing with 4 or 3 of my friends that I went to high school with at the time, and we ended up, running through people on ranked. This is before we, really knew of, being able to compete on game battles or anything like that. So we would just team up and play ranked all the time, over and over and over again. And we would do tremendously well as a team. So we decided, hey, let's go compete. And we went to the very first Gears of War 1 event for MLG in the Meadowlands. I think it was in Secaucus, New Jersey. And ended up going to that. I think it was June 2007, I think it was.
Okay.
And we went there ready to go, and we ended up facing this team where their dad was the coach, and I was like, yeah, we got this. And and then we ended up just having really cocky attitude, and we got disqualified because we showed up with wireless controllers like a bunch of idiots.
Oh god.
and we were we brought the cables, but you weren't, at the time they said you weren't allowed to do the play in charge. It had to be a direct wired controller, because it can there was other teams that did the same thing, and they showed up and they were their Xbox was or it was controlling the one across the room and everything like that, so they couldn't play. So then what did we do? We walked to the nearest GameStop, and they're wiped out of controllers, of course. And then it came down to either we had to forfeit the next game and we were done, and we were supposed to play our next game on the losers bracket in the main stage. So we were really wanted to do that. But our only other option was buying controllers off of, say, a team that had already lost, which is already a gut punch if they were knocked out. Hey, should we have your controllers? And we asked the team, but they were they kind of talked amongst themselves, and they were they wanted $250 for their controllers or something like that. We were and my 2 friends were honestly more invested in Halo, and they're no, we don't even want to play anymore. And I was pretty crushed.
Oh, of course.
I felt like such an idiot that we couldn't get that right. It's something so simple, but it was just watching and being able to be there for the first event was pretty amazing, because that ended up launching a couple of great teams that a lot of people might remember, like the Insanes and Infinity. And I remember there was a game that I think Infinity was playing against MBN in a game, but it was during that circuit. I wasn't live there. But this was before the days of streaming and, where everything's recorded and on YouTube. And there was a game where Infinity got beat by this underdog team, MBN, and they celebrated before they killed the last player on the other team, and then he was able to get up in time and kill the remaining 2 players and clutch for the win, which is mind-blowing to think about. And I looked high and low for this clip. I swear, if anybody has any footage of this, please, for the good of mankind, you need to upload this to the internet. I would love to see that, but all I've read are accounts and whatnot. But I couldn't imagine seeing that live.
That's brutal.
Yeah, but beyond all that, I just ended up competing here and there. Just not doing anything too serious. Tried to compete in Gears 2. Only went to 1 event. Didn't place well. I ended up getting doubles. Or second in a doubles tournament at NJ Halo that I did. And it was really it came down to just the tournament got so long, I had to find a new teammate because my one teammate had to leave. It was,
oh boy, because
those tournaments go on. Sometimes those tournaments went on for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
4 a.m. sometimes you're still playing.
Oh God, don't tell me. I don't want to remember those days. They were brutal.
Yeah.
I used to finish at 3. Well, one tournament that we actually won. Fun fact: myself, Immortal, Kirill's, and Zero XL won the first Gears of War 3 local at NJ Halo. It was actually 32 teams, and to this day, the biggest Gears of War 3 LAN. Just because obviously there wasn't that many teams, but that was the biggest LAN. We won, but I think we got done at 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning, something like that. and I think we won, I don't remember, don't quote me, but maybe $250 to $500 each, and it was not even worth it at that point. We were so
Just
dead tired.
days of sleep after that, you know, and
Yeah, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't
Yeah.
worth it, but a win's a win. But
absolutely.
to wrap this up, Ty, because I'm going to bring on Steve here. Again, appreciate you coming on here. Like I said, you had a lot to say, and I hope I helped you in any way possible I can. But before I let you go, Tyler, if there's anything that you want to say, now's the time to say it.
Just thanks a lot, everybody that's been supporting me. If you guys want to check me out further, you can check out my Twitch at Super Trooper. That's with 3 O's, or supertrooper.tv. Take you right to my YouTube channel, and you guys can check out more of my content. Hoping I'm gonna get back on the grind, because I honestly, I've been slacking. I haven't uploaded it's been a month now, so I gotta get back on that. I've been working on a lot of my other projects right now, but now's a better time than ever.
Of course, and like I said, you're very motivated, so don't stop. I know that's always an issue, but you have other projects, so you're obviously not doing anything. You're just busy focusing on probably bigger projects, which is great for you. Like you said, you have your 2 sites that that are awesome. I actually looked into it. But again, thank you, Tyler. I hope you have a good night, and look forward to speaking to you sometime soon. All right, buddy?
Thanks a lot, Gabe. Take care, man.
Later, bud. All right, guys, so that was Tyler. We are going to go right into the next guest and the last guest of the night. We're going to be bringing on here Stephen A. Crystal, Esquire. He's an attorney. He's an investor. He's an esports advocate. He's my esports mentor. I've been talking to Stephen for a while now, kind of on the background that most people never really knew about him until today, and you guys will get to know him a little bit better. He's also a former casino owner in Las Vegas. This is crazy, you know what I mean? Like, hello? Like, I don't get it. So we're going to be bringing him on here, and hope that he has a lot of knowledge and information for you guys. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you put it in the chat. This is the guy to ask. I mean, he does it all. So without further ado, let me go ahead and try to get Steven on here. I know he is ready and he's excited. Let's call Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Gabe.
Hey, how's it going, buddy? How's everything?
It's going great.
Going good. It's good to see you. Good to finally actually meet you on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, Stephen, I told everybody prior from you getting on here, you have an extensive background, an extensive resume. I mean, you're an investor, you're an attorney, you're a former casino owner of Las Vegas. I mean, what don't you do? Explain a little bit about what you do and what you're currently working on for everybody here watching.
Excellent. Thank you first. Let me just say, before I get going on that, that I personally appreciate, Gabe, all that you've been doing in esports. And I also know that you have a life outside of esports, and I'm also appreciative what you do for your community. I mean, this is esports is important. It's something that some of us pursue as an investor, or pursue as a professional or an amateur. But at the end of the day, we're people, and we live in communities, and we contribute in all kinds of ways. So I want to just express my appreciation just before we get going. So
I appreciate that, Steve. Honestly, that means a lot. Thank you. Thank you a lot.
I don't know that I've been preparing a lifetime for a career in esports, but I started my professional career while most people were just starting college. I actually had a career in politics before I got into the law and business. I was at the time the youngest state representative in the history of New Hampshire.
Wow.
And I served in the legislature there as a student at Dartmouth College. And then I went into a career in politics, thinking I was going to go maybe into higher office. I ran presidential campaigns and senatorial campaigns and congressional campaigns. And after a while, I decided that politics wasn't for me. And if we look at the state of affairs now, maybe that was a good choice. And I decided to go to law school and get a profession. And for many years, I represented the casino industry all over the USA, handling their licensing, their development, and financing of casinos outside of the 2 main jurisdictions, New Jersey and Nevada. And I had an opportunity in 2001 to join a partner who's been a partner for 25 years, a gentleman who was 20 years my senior.
Wow.
And he took me under his wing, and we raised a bunch of capital on Wall Street, almost $250 million. And we had the opportunity to own and operate 6 casinos in downtown Las Vegas. We employed 4,000 people and ran the day-to-day operations for several years until we sold our interest in the casinos. And that's when I went into active investing, mostly in casino technology. So I was interested at how the casinos were going to change as the demographics changed, as people got older and younger people came into the casino environment. You know, how would the casino change? And that's what led me 3 years ago to start looking at esports. I was looking to see if there was a possibility to join esports and the peer-to-peer competition with what we do in casinos as either entertainment or as peer-to-peer gaming. And so that began 3 years ago, the process of getting to know your industry.
Of course. Wow, that was a lot of detailed information, Steve. I was not ready for that, but you've done a lot, and the fact that you broke it down into the casino, and the fact that you did so much and that you were so heavily involved in that kind of industry is awesome. Now, tell me about esports. I know you've been working in the industry for the last 3 years. What drew you to esports? What do you like, and what are you working on?
Well, initially I was looking, personally and professionally for a spark. I think, most of the people I'm dealing with are as old as my children. I have 3 children, 22, 19, and 17. Now the average esport player may be a little bit older, but not much older. And so initially what I was looking for was just kind of a spark to kind of connect with the next generation and see what they were interested in. And so that led to a process, much like I used to do political campaigns, that led to a process of what I call grassroots research. And what that meant is I was willing to talk to anyone. It didn't matter to me whether they were an amateur, professional, a team owner, or simply someone trying to start an organization. Every conversation was valuable. And so 3 years ago, I started by learning the ecosystem by simply having literally hundreds of conversations. I invited people to come to Vegas. I traveled not only the USA, but the world. I traveled to every major country where esports is a focus so that I could learn the culture. And only after that point did I begin considering where I wanted to invest my dollars and time and invest the dollars of those who have invested with me for over 25 years. And so the process was sometimes frustrating. Sometimes people question my motives. Who are you? You're not a gamer. And I said, look, I'm someone who's trying to be helpful. I'm someone who's trying to be a mentor. I'm someone who's trying to put money to work with young entrepreneurs and people who have ideas. And if that's an agenda, then I guess I apologize for that. But I think that esports could benefit from having someone of my background who's accomplished a lot in business come in and try to professionalize certain aspects of it, commercialize certain aspects of it. And so that's been the process. It's been a lot of good moments, a lot of great people, and some disappointments and some bad moments, but mostly it's been a great 3 years investing in esports.
Of course, and obviously we always want good moments and we always want positive things. So far, Steve, within the last 3 years, what would you say is probably the best investment or the biggest thing that's happening to you in a good way in regards to esports?
That's a good question. I mean, the way I look at esports is I'm interested mostly, my background is in technology. And so I am interested in things that have a technology aspect to it. I'm also interested in the grassroots, in the fan base. There's a lot more fans than there are professional players. There's a lot more amateur organizations than there are professional organizations. And so I look for things that marry technology with the fan base and are scalable and can be perfected in the USA and brought to Europe or Asia or the Middle East or Africa or South America. I mean, what's wonderful about esports, for me, I'm a world traveler. I've been to almost every continent. It's a worldwide phenomenon. It's not just in the USA. And so I would say the biggest effort I've done to date has been a company called UMG Gaming out of St. Louis, Missouri. UMG is a major tournament sponsor in grassroots tournaments all over the USA, and runs a peer-to-peer gaming platform online with millions of users. And we've invested millions of dollars. We've worked, with the original owners to grow the company, and we've been good stewards. So I would say that's been my best success. I would say in addition to that, I have experienced professional team ownership with Penta Sports out of Berlin, Germany. I just got back from GameCon in Cologne at Gamescom, and I was hosted by the folks at Penta throughout Germany. They're just an excellent, aggressive, innovative organization. They bring me a lot of joy. So I've had every experience in between with over a dozen companies, and I'm not done yet. I'm not done.
No, I know, and the way you are, you're a very passionate guy, and that just from listening to you here, and I'm sure everybody that's in the chat listening, they're happy to have you here. You're full of knowledge. I know UMG Gaming, like you mentioned, they have been around for a while. They do an extremely great job with all their online stuff that they, they work with. We actually know UMG, the esports Gears of War scene, UMG as well. We have Jason. He used to work with local Gears of War tournaments and so forth. He's actually working with UMG as well. So is Ryan Fools. He happens to be a professional coach for Envious. Well, it was Team Envious, now Echo Fox. So we kind of have a link to UMG Gaming. Now with Penta, Steve, I wanted to ask you a little bit more about them. I see you represent them a lot. Like you said, you just came from Berlin, Germany. What are they doing? What's their focus in regards to esports?
Look, they do focus on the esports that are popular in Europe. As you know, there's a difference between Europe and the USA. USA still has a focus on console, and Europe is focused on the PC-based games. But, one of the things they did was they opened up a performance center. So in addition to having a place where their professional teams can train and receive the best practices, they open it up to the community at large, to the amateur esports player, in order to come in and be trained, to learn, to gain skills, not only as a player, but as a person. And I think that's very innovative. There are some examples of that on some of the college campuses. And I'm a big believer in working at the university level, building up scholarships, building up career paths for esports. This is what Penta is incubating. They work with non-endemic sponsors. They have a TV, they have Penta TV, and they're leveraging their user base, they're leveraging their fans to create content. This is a little bit what UMG is doing as well with their studio. So I believe that that this is the innovation that we need to see. And Penta is a bunch of young men and women who are really not afraid to try different things and new things. And they're profitable, they're growing. So I was very excited to spend a week with them and travel around Germany and meet all the players in Europe at Gamescom. It was just an unbelievable event.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, I just heard about Gamescom recently. I was actually speaking to, I think his name is Ben Fox, somebody else who I'm not too sure. I'm sure you're familiar with him. You tend to know a lot of people. So I had been talking to him about it. Unfortunately, I didn't know about the event prior, but I do plan to hopefully, make it out next year. Now, were you able to attend that event?
Well, we're talking about different events. There was a Gamescom in Vegas. There's one in
That
Atlantic
one.
City.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. This one was in Cologne, Germany. And just to put it in perspective, they have 24 exhibit halls in Cologne, okay? The size of an average convention center. So theirs is 24 times that. They fill it with pavilions on indie game titles. All the major publishers are there. They open it up to the public. And over 4 days, over 500,000 people come to the convention. 500,000 people. It's the biggest event that takes place all year in Cologne, Germany.
Wow.
And all of Europe comes together to try out the new games, to showcase their professional players, to give amateurs and the fans, amateur organizations, a place to find sponsorships and to grow their organizations. It is going to be this. It'll be like that. E3 is getting that way in LA. They opened it up to the public for the first time this past year.
Wow.
In some ways, we're behind Europe, and in some ways, we're ahead of Europe. But I can find a lot of good practices in Europe to bring back to the USA, and eventually I'll find practices in the USA to bring to Europe. I mean, there's a bigger economic base in the USA.
Mm. Of course, that's always something. That's always something a lot of people bring up. The economic status, obviously is different. Now, with something like that, what do you think we may lack in North America in regards to, like a training center, like you spoke about, or even that event, with the numerous amount of teams and different sponsors that come? What do you think we can work on as a nation in regards to, working towards being a little bit better on the esports side, like Germany, for example, is now?
Let me give you a few thoughts, and some of them may sound controversial, but I'm the last guy who wants to be controversial. I actually, my agenda here is to do as much good as possible. Yes, I'm in it to make a profit, but that, look at UMG. They employ almost 50 people. I mean, those are real jobs, people doing what they love. There's nothing better than giving someone a job that they love to do. Now, I think what we lack a little bit in the U.S. is we don't have the sponsors on board yet. Right now, most of the peripherals, you have your standard sponsors. We need more sponsors to come on board. We need non-endemic sponsors. We need local and regional sponsors to come on board to support both the amateur organizations and the pro organizations. There is big money coming in from hedge funds on Wall Street and from professional sports teams, but I'm not sure that's all going to be the best. I think we still need to be able to have it in America where an organic organization can grow to be a big organization and not just simply be a pawn of some institutional investor or some professional sports team. And this is what I think we need to work on. We need to get more sponsors involved. Beyond that, there's a few things I've noticed. We need to promote indie game developers. We need to be open to men and women, not just men. We need to be kind to one another. We need to be loyal. We need to have ethics. All of the things that help people mature and be productive citizens. This is what we need to work on to really make it a professional industry. I think the pieces are there. I'm so impressed with most of the people I meet in this industry, but they need to have some guidance from people like myself, people from outside the industry, so that they can grow into a sustainable industry, not one where people are trying to throw nuclear bombs at each other and trash talk this person and trash talk that person. I mean, I get the competition. I get it. But I think this is not only professional skill-based sports, but it's also entertainment. It's also part of our culture. And we need to be good stewards of it. So this is what I think we need to work on. We need to mature. This is what I think.
Yeah, I mean, You're hitting everything on point, Steve. I agree with you completely. I know we've spoken before. I consider you a huge and an awesome mentor to me. But everything you said is absolutely right. We definitely need to mature as a whole. We need to be a little bit nicer to each other as a whole, a little bit more professional, I guess you could say, a little bit more marketable in ourselves and in the people we represent. That's all stuff that I completely agree with you on, and I love that everything you're saying right now is on point. And I appreciate all the knowledge that you're bringing to us. Now, we had one question from Bot Empire. They're one of the, I guess you could say, amateur organizations, even though their team that they had sent out, and this is information for you, season 1, event 1 in Columbus, Ohio, they sent out a team there. They actually placed, I think it was top 3. So they do have their professional status on there. Jake is one of the co-owners. He had a question for you. He said, what is your end goal, and what is the primary goal with your esports investments?
Well, let's separate the two, because there's a role that I play that has nothing to do with my investments. I probably spend, let's put it in perspective. I'm spending 90% of my time running around not only the USA but the world, trying to further esports. And it represents less than 10% of my revenue base of my business. Okay. So that is an indication that I'm willing to contribute. I'm willing to put skin in the game. I probably spend 2, 3, 4 hours a day because I work a longer day than most people, being in the casino industry and in Las Vegas. I speak to anyone. I will give my number to anyone who is respectful and wants to talk to me. My time is not so important. I cannot find 5 or 10 minutes to listen to someone's story. So one side is to do as much of that as I can. I'm going to be 52 years old. Maybe I have another 20 years where I'm still people want to see me, and I'm not put somewhere else. My kids want to put me somewhere else. But look, what I want to do is do good. I want to do good. I want to be a teacher. I want to be considered one of the good guys. As far as my investments are concerned, I can only do so many. I do about 6 a year, and I roll up my sleeves and I help, and I raise additional capital. I've raised close to $3 billion of capital in my life for casino projects and technology projects. I know how to get things done. And I do pick a few things, 3, 4, 5 things a year. Will this go on forever? Not forever. At some point, you move on to something else. But I think for the next few years, I'm going to try to do as much good as possible. I'm going to try to be a mentor. I will take some shots because I will threaten some people. People will be jealous. People will think I have some motivation. But in all honesty, I just want to meet as many people, try to do as much good as possible, and do enough good projects that I fulfill, what everyone, we're in America. We're entrepreneurs. We want to try to do the best we can for ourselves, and I'm no different. But I don't want to step on people to do it. I don't want to badmouth the next person to do it. I just want to do what I've been doing for 25 years for esports.
That's awesome. And great answer, obviously, well put. I have another question for you, Steve. This comes from Immortal Spawn, is his gamer tag, known in the gaming world. Rob Ambrose, actually a good friend of mine, teammate of 10 years. He has a question. He said, what are your thoughts on franchising esports teams like traditional sports?
I think he's referring to the most recent example, which is Overwatch. It is interesting that only 7 or 8 of the planned 32 or 34 franchises got placed. That's interesting. But look, here's what my concern is. What I love about esports is the grassroots nature. I told you some of the things that I hope, mature, but let me tell you a few of the things that I think are amazing about young people like yourself, like my kids. You guys, you don't grow up with prejudice. You're open. You're open to everything. And, us older people, and you look at our parents' generation, we grew up with biases. which are not, we know are totally bogus. And I love the fact that young people are so open to other people. This is my common experience. And what I would hate to see happen is that some of this grassroots organic spirit gets crushed by quote unquote corporate America. This would be sad. So I'm all for progress, but progress comes with a price. And I'd hate to see the esports ecosystem lose what's so unique, which is people coming together to do what they love, to be competitive at it, to enjoy the entertainment value, and to do it for themselves and for their friends and for their community. And I would hate to lose that in the rush to create sports franchises that are just, a lot of those sports franchises are losing viewers. They're doing things wrong. And in esports, you can go on Twitch and you can access people directly. You're doing things right. Now, I understand people want to learn from you, but don't crush it to learn from it. This would be my only concern there.
Okay, yeah, no, that's again great information. We have another question from War Dog. His name is Dan, and Steve, if you have to go at any time or anything that you let me know. But I'll just try to get as many questions out. He said, "What do you think about geolocating esports teams? Do you think it's necessary?"
Again, what we're doing is basically copying a pattern that seems to have worked. And what I'm saying is, look, we have a number of different esports. We have new esports that emerge. I mean, PUBG, went from nowhere to being like the biggest phenomenon to hit esports. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that occurrence. I don't want to lose hearing from somebody who starts an organization and believes they could be the next big organization. So I guess what I'm saying to you is, it will sort itself out. There'll be some mistakes, but I hope whatever we do, that we don't. I mean, why should the same cities that have the other sports be the ones who have the major esports? Why not spread it out? America's a beautiful place. People think America is just, New York City, LA, Chicago. I've traveled every inch of America. It's a great place, and there's a lot in between the big cities. So I guess me personally, I'm biased against simply just locating things in the same cities that have everything else.
No, of course, and I think you're absolutely right when it comes to that. That's that's something a lot of people don't think about in regards to, like you said, everybody in between. I think that'd be awesome, to get different teams representing different states, different countries all together, console, PC, whatever it is. Now, Stephen, a question for me: is there anything that you're generally working on specifically, a project or anything like that besides Penta, like you just talked about?
I mean, I've got, I'm working in different parts of the ecosystem. I incubated a company that did crowdfunding to help grow tournament prize pools. I'm involved right now in due diligence on the apparel side. I come from the betting world, the gambling world, and so I'm on the cutting edge as it relates to cryptocurrencies, blockchain, fantasy esports betting. I mean, there's not an issue you can bring up. Events, streaming technology. I just joined the board of Wham Entertainment, which is going to be a 24/7 high production value network dedicated to esports that will stream into China and every corner of the world, bringing the USA experience to the rest of the world. So, I mean, there's not any aspect that I have not looked at. I'm looking at different technologies and also different geographies. I spent a lot of time in Brazil, and I think Brazil is an up-and-coming market, both for casinos and for esports. I've spent a lot of time in Vietnam. I think Southeast Asia, there's a very large middle class there. I just got my 10-year visa to China. I just finalized a partnership on the casino side for India. I'm going to take over management contract on a casino through a management company in Lebanon, in the Middle East. So for me, it's a worldwide opportunity, and what I want to do is work with as many people as I can, learn from as many people as I can, help as many people as I can, and you know what? If you do things the right way, you'll be enriched. You get enriched financially, but you can't chase financial reward as your main goal. It is a byproduct of doing what you love and doing good by it. So I'm going to continue doing that as long, I guess, as people will have me. I see that the more I do it, the more some people like to throw darts at me. And I don't know why it is. Maybe because I didn't focus on their company, or they didn't feel I did enough. But the truth is, I'm gonna stick to my game plan because I think it's been working over 3 years.
Yeah, no, I mean, with the short amount of time that you had, 3 years, the way you speak, it seems like you've been in the industry for years on years. But when you're good at it, and the mentality that you have, which you are like, I'm like blown away. You're very, very positive guy. You're very down to earth, and I think that you get rewarded for doing that. You do a lot of good for other people that you just meet. For everybody in the stream and that watches this video later on, I came to you on LinkedIn. I messaged you about my show, about my team, and like you said, you had that grassroots mentality. You talked to me. You called me on the phone. We spoke for like 15 minutes. I told you I was going to Las Vegas to play at the tournament, and you were so willing to help in any way you can. You know what I mean? That's not something you see every day, and that's something that I appreciate 100%. Like you said, everybody has their career and their personal life. Me personally, I'm a police officer, so I try to do good, any day I can. Everybody needs help, and you can learn a little bit from everyone. So the fact that, you're willing to be that guy that gives information to other people is huge. And, that's something that I personally was drawn to with your kind of personality. Now,
I also think, by the way, you're a young guy, and you do work with the community as a police officer. You have a very, very nice presence, and you're articulate. But one of the things, I wouldn't say most of the people I deal with are like you. Sometimes they'd be more comfortable sending me a tweet or sending me a message, and I say, look, pick up the phone and call. I'm very approachable. I'm old-fashioned. I believe at the end of the day, whether we're talking about pros, amateurs, whether we're talking about Gears of War or something else, whatever game, whatever esport we're talking about, at the end of the day, we're people. And if there's one thing I could preach to the hundreds of people, literally hundreds, it's a little bit of old school knowledge. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Don't be afraid. I had someone who I really respect and is now working with me, and I would do anything for him. He sold his gaming computer so he could come out and spend a few days with me, and the impression that left on me, I've met thousands of people. I've met billionaires. I've met presidents, and that impressed me more than all of that combined. Okay, what I want to see is a little bit more of the old school. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and take a chance with a potential mentor. I think this is as much about life as it is about esports, and this is the approach I've taken. And even if I get disappointed a time or two, the times that I get rewarded are hundreds. So I'm going to keep doing it. I invite you, anybody. I reached out to about 50 people just who follow you, who support you. And I said, here's my number. Call if there's something I can help you with. That doesn't mean I can, I don't have a magic wand, but the truth is I always have good advice. And, you may be like this with your parents, but, I had my son work with me. He's at UVA as an intern. I think he definitely appreciates it, but oftentimes kids feel more comfortable, young people feel more comfortable talking to someone who's not their parent. Sometimes they feel more comfortable talking to their parent, but I feel a little bit like I'm I'm a mentor from a business standpoint, but also like a parent figure, because the age difference between me and the average person I'm dealing with is 25 or 30 years. That's a whole lifetime. Okay, that's a long time. So I guess the message out there, anyone picking this up, is reach out to whoever you think can be a positive influence. This is what we need to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I laugh because you're absolutely right. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 15 years old. Rob Ambrose, my teammate, he could tell you this. I was 15, contacting anybody. I've talked to representatives from Doritos, Arizona Iced Tea, Snapple, Gatorade, just alone on what you said. If you don't take a chance, if you don't pick up the phone, send an email, contact a certain person, you can't, there's no wrong to it. What worst thing they said, hey, we're not looking for an active sponsor, and they send you something out. That's happened to me multiple times.
Right. Well, look, it sounds so simple, and we get lost. I've had to learn social media. I'm not very good at it. I mean, I don't know how to do hashtags the way I'm supposed to. And my kids say that I post too much. But you know what? I'm willing to learn, like, the world as it is. I'm not going to be a curmudgeon-y old guy saying kids these days, and it's just not my style. I want to know what's going on. But I also think there are some lessons from your parents' generation and from even people a little bit older than you that are worth learning too. Not everything can be absorbed on your smartphone. Some of it has to be experienced. So if I could preach one thing, it would be, it's great to have your community. It's great to be passionate. It's great to pursue, professional esports if that's your thing. It's great to pursue, a technology platform if that's your thing. But and as a whole, you guys are so open to people. I just think we need to. I think we need to have a little bit of that old school. Pick up the phone, take a meeting. Be there in person, be present. This would be my advice to my kids and to the people I deal with in esports.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Like you said, you want to make it a little bit more personal. Get on the phone, like you said, see them in person, set up a meeting. Like you said, you have people come out to you, spend a day with you or spend a weekend with you, whatever it is, talk about business, but more face to face. And that's honestly how I am. Like you said, it is something that we're starting to see change, unfortunately, with, the millennials or people, my age. I'm 26, and you see it all the time. You have people, like you said, that, hey, just send me a text message or just send me an email. Where it's, if you actually picked up the phone or even did something like this, Skype, it's a lot easier and things don't get mixed up in translation. So I'm totally on board, with what you have to say in regards to that.
I learned. I'll say one other thing, and because this is starting to sound maybe too touchy-feely, but as you get older, you get a little bit more emotional too. But one other thing I'll say. There was a time in my life. I went through a kind of a professional, professional career building organization. Other CEOs who got together, and what I learned in that process. If you had the time to spend with any individual in the world, maybe with the exception of like a terrorist, okay, or a murderer, but if you had the time to really get to know a person in this world, you would like that person or something about them. You would find one thing that you would laugh or you would like. The problem is, we don't have the time to get to know everybody. And with social media, what we get to know about people is very surface. It's not very deep. But I will tell you that if you start with the premise that if you had the time, that you would like something about everybody, then when you approach the world, the truth is you can make a connection to anybody if you put the effort in. And this is a very old school message, but this is a forum that you've given me. I don't know whether it will reach 100 people or 1,000 people or 10,000 people, but what I would say to them is take a page from your parents' school book. And I'm not your parent, so it's not like your parent telling you. But take a chance, get to know somebody, take a risk. Don't hide behind social media. Don't hide behind the clique that's your community. There's a whole world out there, and it's consistent with being great at esports and being, great stewards of that, of that ecosystem and of that form of entertainment. So this is, I didn't know I would take it that direction, but, you and I have had some of these same, we've shared some of these same points, and I've been sharing them more and more as I get to know certain people, better. I feel like I want to give them another layer of knowledge. So thank you for letting me, stand on my soapbox. I appreciate it.
No, of course, Stephen. I don't see any other better moment to end on a high note. Again, I want to thank you for coming on the show. You've been nothing but great, full of knowledge and experience, and I want to thank you. I know everybody watching this now, it's a lot of people in our community, so I just wanted to let you know everybody loves it. I mean, all the information you have, like I said, the experience and knowledge, the fact that you're talking to me as a parent, which, you know what? I've always seen it like that. Like I said, you've always been, nothing but helpful to me, through my path with the show. Before the show even started, I talked to you, and you were there to help me out. But Steve, before we close here, was there anything else, any last things you wanted to speak about?
No, I wish everyone you have a great community. I interacted with several of them leading up to this. You're an excellent person, so do as much as you can. Touch as many people, and I'll come back anytime if I can be helpful. So just thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. And Steve, before I let you go, I have one person in here, Curve. She actually has been doing some design work for my stream. She had a question. She said, what are your thoughts on the idea of an esports compound? She said almost like an apartment complex / hotel building dedicated to development and education of esports.
Look, I think it's, the truth is we live in a market-based economy. This is America. It distinguishes us from other economies and other countries, and the market will deliver that which is in demand, and what you've just described is in demand. So all of that is in the future, and what we need is people like her and other people to make those dreams and follow through on them. I mean, this is your world, and it's going to change, and change is going to happen faster and faster. What you just described, I definitely see could be part of that, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, I think that's it for tonight. Of course, I look forward to speaking with you, as well, and hopefully have you on here if we have, a new episode or any new topics that come up. But again, Steve, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on here, and thank you for everything you have to offer.
Yeah, thank you, Gabe. Be good.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot. And a lot in a good way. I've been talking to Steve for quite some time now, to be honest. I went to Steve before I started up the show. I kind of gave him, an idea and kind of like a background of what I wanted to do with Gears of War RosterMania. And, being who Steve is, being his background, obviously you've heard about the projects that he's worked on. And he's been very successful in everything that he does, and he tries to do good and return that favor to everybody. And he has a very grassroots mentality, and more of an old school approach when it comes to talking to people and trying to get to know each and every person. And I agree with him. We all have goods and bads. We all have personal lives. We obviously all have our personal issues at home. We have our good and our bad days, but we can learn from people. We can learn from everybody, and that ties into my career. Me being a police officer, obviously it's not a surprise anymore. It's not a something that's hidden. I'm a police officer or detective, to say, and I talk to people every day, and I talk to a lot of people, and I talk to people that have issues. I talk to people who are looking for someone to just listen to them. You know what I mean? And they have a lot to say. And you have to be able to look past somebody and look past about what they're talking about. It may not make sense to you at that time and place, but it'll make sense to you at one point in your life. I've been touched numerous times, different stories, different aspects in life, and it hits me personally, and sometimes I choke up when I'm in situations like that. And people like Steve gives me a breath of fresh air. Steve, such a successful man, working with numerous casinos and being so humble and modest. For him to come on here and talk to you guys and give him his ideas and his background, and I guess you could say his advice on the esports growth is huge. And yeah, I mean, I don't I mean, he honestly, that was amazing, and I look forward to doing that every week now. That's something I want to progress into, is getting people like Steve, people who are successful in the esports scene, not just Gears of War. He's absolutely right. We can expand. I can expand on the show. So I'm going to be looking forward to having more people like Steve, a little bit more of, the esports industry background, to have him on here to speak to you guys, and kind of do a little bit more of a Q&A kind of atmosphere like we did. But I think we're going to end on that. It was a good episode. Again, I appreciate you guys being here. This is going to go up on YouTube as well, so make sure you guys do follow me on YouTube. Again, I always post these. I'll probably post this one tonight just because of the quality of knowledge that was brought in on here from Stephen A. Crystal. But again, we want to give a warm welcome to my 4 sponsors tonight to lighten up the mood. We have Trickstrat, Immortal Spawn. It's always good to be working with friends. To have such a strong relationship and such a strong background with somebody like Rob is huge to me. You know what I mean? I'm more of a personal person, so to find loyalty in a friend and a teammate and a business partner like that, like Steve said, is very hard to find. So I want to thank Rob for joining the Gears of War RosterMania family. Next one is X-Hike Gaming. Like I said, a new up-and-coming organization, an amateur organization, led by Harrison and Tyler. Harrison happened to be a manager of my team at Las Vegas. He was playing under Ferocity Nation. I want to thank them as well for joining the Gears of War RosterMania family. CMG Casting, I know Jason Zahner, he actually had tweeted it out. He's a co-owner of CMG, co-owner of Fire and Ice Pro Gaming Team. I want to thank them as well for believing in me and believing in the potential that I bring, and I hope I bring to you guys and hopefully to other communities down the road. And lastly, Bot Empire. Big help. Jake was in here tonight, very helpful with the questions, and very what can I say, very inspirational and passionate org owner that you just don't see now these days. And again, another person that came to me, we talked over the phone, we talked through Skype, we talked through Twitter, and we try to help each other. And I couldn't see myself doing it without them. So I want to thank those 4 organizations and companies that signed on with Gears of War RosterMania. But I want to thank Rezac, Kevin, for coming on the show, former teammate of mine as well. Thank him for coming out. And lastly, Tyler, another inspirational guy. He had a lot to say. He does a lot of editing. He does a lot of commentating and casting background. I wish him the best of luck. I honestly would love to see him on the analyst desk, or even casting or commentating or being a host or whatever it is. We don't see that a lot in the world. Tyler means nothing but the best for everybody, and I would love to co-cast with him. I would love to have him part of the team if that was something that happened down the road with Gears of War RosterMania and myself. But I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Like I said, I will have this uploaded to YouTube. This was a great episode, and really taken back by what Steven had to say and bring to the table. And again, thank you all for coming out. Appreciate you guys. Next week I will be live once again, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We will be live again with Gears of War RosterMania. I'll have a little bit more information on the 2K tournament that is starting up this Sunday. So we'll be talking about the rosters and the progress from each team that played in it. But again, thank you guys. Have a good night and stay sexy.